𝗙𝗲𝗄𝗧. So I haven't done this for some time now, so I'm just trying to ensure that I am live. Please comment and say you can hear me before I start. Ramadan Mubarak to everybody. It's been a long time. I've not been out here. I'm well, just busy. Just one comment to say you can hear me loud and clear. Can you all hear me? Yeah, just wait for someone to say they can hear me before I start. Please, can you comment and say that you can hear me or not? 𝗙𝗵𝗄𝗆𝗃𝗍𝗄𝗆, can you hear me? Aja, 𝗙𝗵𝗄𝗆𝗃𝗍𝗄𝗆. I can see a few people are watching, but not sure if they can hear me. Can somebody give me a thumbs up at least so I know? Okay, so yeah, I've got a hat there, so hopefully you all can hear me. 𝗙𝗲𝗄𝗧. Thank you so much for joining me into this live streaming. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much, Keba. So my name is Fatu 𝗏𝗵𝗺𝗂𝗃. For those of you who don't know me, it's been such a long time. I haven't been out here to have a chat about different issues that are going on in the Gambia. Just been very busy, but Ramadan Mubarak to everybody. I hope you're all having a good time. Fatu Baji, are you fasting? Fax, please stop her till after Ramadan. Yankuba, mune te dundin tela Facebook kono. Anyway, so this is going to be pretty short, okay? It's not going to be a criticism per se. It's just something that has been bothering me for some time, and I know it has been bothering other people as well, about the nomination of Maimouna Cissé Darboe and Fatoumatta Jawara. I think a lot of people are frowning at these nominations because people are not quite clear why they're being nominated in the first place, because one of them, Maimouna Cissé Darboe, I understand, has not even completed primary school education. And then the other, Fatoumatta Jawara, was rejected by the people of Talending, 1. And 2, she was actually in parliament and she didn't deliver. She was unable to read. She was unable to articulate herself in parliament. And we all saw it. It happened right in our eyes, right in front of us, okay? So people are frowning because we're all disappointed that these two people, I'm not going to talk about Tombong Jatta or Sidi Njai, because I feel that those two people have already been dealt with. I've watched a lot of videos of different activists, different individuals who've articulated very well why their nomination was wrong. But I think as a feminist, I think as somebody who is always advocating for women, I think it's also important that I voice out what I think about the nomination of Maimouna Cissé Darboe and Fatoumatta Jawara. And like I said, it's not going to be a criticism, because I do want these women to excel in parliament. I wish them well, but I have concerns, like serious concerns, like all of you do, okay? So in parliament, it is expected that the parliamentarians are supposed to be parliamentarians are supposed to be able to articulate themselves in English, to be able to understand some of the bills, the documents that are produced in Parliament, to be able to read and write and articulate. I think that is a requirement in the Constitution, actually, that they should have a degree of English language, so that they're able to efficiently and effectively participate in the proceedings of the National Assembly. Of course, English is not our mother tongue. English is a second language to many of us. I am not perfect in English. I always, speak broken English, which is fine. But I think that I am able to read and understand, and I'm able to articulate myself in English. And that is what the minimum, actually, that we expect. But today I want to talk a little bit about 𝗠𝗶𝗺𝗂𝗃 𝗵𝗂, because there was a revelation recently that she was trying to call. Please don't try to join. Just give me like 10-15 minutes until I kind of say what I want to say before you join. So there was a revelation, actually. I heard that 𝗠𝗶𝗺𝗃 did not finish primary school education. So I wonder, how is this person going to be able to understand some of the documents that are going to be produced in the National Assembly? How is she going to read an article or read? I mean, don't get me wrong, some people did not finish. Okay, so my brother is watching. I have to be careful. So I know that some people did not have the formal education, and they went ahead in their adult days and learned the English language, and they're able to read and write. And when I saw 𝗠𝗶𝗺𝗃 𝗵𝗂 in an interview, I thought that she actually had the education, because she was very vocal. She was very articulate in English. She was interviewed in English. But I understand that because she lived in the US, of course, I know of so many people who are illiterate in English or in our formal education system in Gambia, and they came here into the UK or into the other Western countries and were able to speak. But speaking alone is not enough. I think the understanding is what we're looking for. And we know that 𝗠𝗶𝗺𝗃 𝗵𝗂 is a Barrow sympathizer. She is, MPP, the Iron Lady, that's what they call her. She is one of the prominent people in NPP. And so, I think people are right to frown at her nomination, because we would be questioning whose interest is she there for. Is she actually representing Gambian women? Is 𝗠𝗶𝗺𝗃 𝗵𝗂 actually representing Gambian women in Parliament? Because I think the president has the privilege to nominate 5 people. And those 5 people, I think, should come from the marginalized group. So women, differently able people, the young people. And I think he's done that. I think on paper, or technically, we could say that he nominated Maimuna and Fatmata, in a capacity to represent Gambian women. But the question is 𝗠𝗠𝗃𝗃 the right person to represent Gambian women in Parliament? Because 𝗠𝗠𝗃𝗃 𝗵𝗂 has not been living in the Gambia recently. So I think she came back during the campaign period or so. But she does not have the lived experience of typical Gambian woman, if you know what I mean. So she would not understand how costly it is to go to the NACO, for example, to go and sell products in the market. She's not a market woman. She doesn't go every day to the market to buy products, to understand how expensive these things are. She doesn't struggle to pay for school fees for her children. She doesn't struggle to pay for rent in the Gambia. So she does not understand the realities of Gambian women. Education aside, okay? English speaking aside. I'm just talking about the capacity that she's in parliament for. She is there to represent Gambian women. So somebody representing Gambian women should be someone who understands the realities of Gambian women, who understand the hustle of Gambian women. Okay? And this is why I have a problem with her. She is a Barrow sympathizer, that's one thing. 2, she hasn't completed her education, although she's articulate in English, but I don't know about her reading. It's not just the speaking. And 3, she hasn't lived in the Gambia for such a long time to understand the realities of Gambian women. Because I don't live in the Gambia right now. I do get when they tell me that things are tough. I do understand it. But not to the extent of someone living in there, based in there, waking up every day, going to sell in the market as a market vendor, living in there every day, paying for your children's school fees. I am not that person. And 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗂𝗏 equally is not that person. She doesn't have a lived experience as we speak. So how is she ever going to effect any change in the Gambia? How? In terms of the welfare of women, I mean. How? How would she advocate for women in parliament if she doesn't have that lived experience? Someone who, you know, you have a car to drive, you have free petrol, you know, you're living in an air-conditioned home. You haven't got that lived experience to challenge some of the issues, to even propose a bill. I think there are better women in Gambia. If we're saying that education doesn't matter, if we're saying that speaking English doesn't matter, if we're saying that we want women in there, we want representation, let us go and have that authentic voice. You know, a woman who has the authentic voice. An authentic voice is somebody who lived the experience of hardship in Gambia, who understands these issues, who's, even if you don't experience the hardship, but you might be interacting with people on a daily basis on the ground to understand their plight. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗂𝗏𝗃 was not interacting with women on a daily basis to understand their plight. She was actually campaigning for President Adama Barrow. That's what she was doing on the platform. We saw it. This is the concern. These are some of the concerns that women have. No, so she's not representing a constituency. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗂𝗏𝗃 is a nominated candidate or MP. So she is not necessarily representing a constituency. And that is why I think that she was chosen to represent Gambian women as a marginalized group. That's what I think. And I genuinely want to believe that, because other than that, what else? Okay? She doesn't understand the plight of Gambian women. She was based in the US. She doesn't understand the struggles, the in and outs of that country. She doesn't, because she's a privileged person. When she returned back home to Gambia, whether or not I think she returned now, because obviously she's working there. But when she returned back home, she will educate National Assembly member with Mandinka Prova. Absolutely. And that's a joke. That's not why we want these women to be there. Yes, I'm all about women's empowerment. Honestly, I'm all about representation of women in parliament and in leadership positions. Of course. But we want quality over quantity. It's not always about the numbers. It's not always about the numbers. I would prefer a vendor, a female vendor selling in Serekunda market, sitting in parliament than having 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗂𝗏𝗃 sitting in there. Because that Serekunda vendor, female vendor in parliament understands the hardship of Gambian women. And she would be able to advise the National Assembly members on matters affecting women. Because she lived that. That's their life. That's her life. Okay? Not somebody who's from the US, You had a good life in the US. You came to the Gambia. You had all the privileges. And there you are sitting in parliament in the name of representing Gambian women. What do you know about Gambian women's struggle? What? This is why we are frowning at the president. Within the MPP, if the president so desperately wanted someone who is on her side, a female representative, then choose somebody who is competent. Choose somebody who is competent. I listened to Maymunah Ceesay's Darboe's interview. He said the president knows what she is capable of. Because she probably proved herself during the campaign. She was the Iron Lady, of course, we knew that. But that's not enough. The parliament is not the campaign ground. The parliament is a place where you represent people or a group. You advocate for them. That's what parliament is for. You scrutinize the bills. You know, what do they call it? That function that everybody says, the oversight function. All the MPs are saying that catchphrase now, the oversight function. How are you going to have any oversight function if you cannot read? It's impossible. So we know then in reality, Maymunah Ceesay Darboe is there for the interest of the president. To add to the numbers. Either to support or to against bills that the opposition brings. Actually to against any bill that the opposition brings. But to support the ones that are being put forward by the NPP. That's what she's there for. And that's not fair on the Gambian people. Women are a marginalized group in that country. And we deserve a better representation in parliament. We deserve somebody who understands the issues and plight of Gambian women to sit in parliament so that they can go head to head with the male counterpart. The parliament is already a male-dominated platform. It's a house that's already male-dominated. We couldn't get the women's bill past the doorstep of parliament. And now we have two women representing Gambian women who don't, well, I couldn't say the same for Fatmata Jawara because she does understand the issues. I will come to Fatmata Jawara in a minute. But for Maymunah, she doesn't get it. She probably did when she was in Gambia years ago before she traveled to the US, but not anymore. She is not that authentic voice anymore. And so she does not deserve that seat. And I'll come a little bit later on before I wrap up to say what she can probably do if she genuinely wants to represent Gambian women, what she can genuinely do to be able to be that authentic voice. Maybe we'll come to that in a minute when I have the time. But let's just move slightly to Fatmata Jawara. Fatmata Jawara was rejected by the Talinding people. I am from Talinding. I was born and raised in Talinding. And I know the people of Talinding rejected Fatmata Jawara. They don't like Fatmata Jawara anymore. And there is a reason for that. I advocated for Fatmata Jawara on my platform. I think I was one of the first women to interview Fatmata Jawara when she became parliamentarian. I adored that lady. Honestly, I did. Because Fatoumata had a lived experience. She's a very resilient young lady, okay? We cannot take that away from her. She is very resilient. She had gone through a lot in prison and in her political life. We knew that. But Fatoumata transformed to this arrogant young lady, very aggressive. She lost focus. She was there back and forth. with the UDP, back and forth with the UDP. Yen damfu nge damfu, yen damfu nge damfu, yen damfu nge damfu, continuously. And in that process, Fatoumata lost herself. She lost herself, her essence, she lost it. Because what? She was fighting with the UDP. She focused so much on the UDP. Lawyer Daboteng, Nindoteng, continuously. Okay? And she lost it. This was, the past 5 years was her opportunity to shine as a young Gambian woman. That was her opportunity to shine. But she missed that opportunity because she was focused on fighting the UDP. Fair enough, the UDP were also attacking her. Okay, they were attacking her. But for me, I would have expected her to focus on the big prize. How do I develop myself as a young politician? How do I excel in this male-dominated platform or the male-dominated house? That is what I would have been thinking if I was Fatoumata Jawara 5 years ago. That was an opportunity she had. She didn't make use of the opportunity. For 5 years, we haven't seen how much she has progressed in Parliament. She struggled to articulate herself. She struggled to read simple line in English. And she dare tell us, I am not representing the Queen. Or I am not representing British people in Parliament. I am representing Gambian. Hello? Our constitution is not written in Mandinka or Wolof or Sarahule. No. The proceedings in Parliament are not done in Mandinka, Sarahule or Jola or Fula. It's done in English. So your focus, Fatoumata, should have been, how do I improve myself? How do I go and educate myself so that I can articulate and understand issues that are on the paper? How do I do that? That should have been her focus, I think. Absolutely. When you are educated, you think outside the box. It's not just the English. It's not just, about going to university. For me, education is about the experience, the whole experience, being able to see things outside the box, like you said. But, in Parliament, the Constitution is not even asking for too much. It's asking for a parliamentarian to be able to read, to be able to speak, so that they can engage very effectively and efficiently with the proceedings. It's as simple as that. So if you spend 5 years in Parliament and you're still unable to articulate yourself, then you haven't made any progress, my dear. Career-wise, she did not make any progress. Financially, maybe. We've seen how much she's transformed, obviously. She's living a good life, mashallah. And we wish her well on that side. But career-wise, she did not develop. She didn't improve herself. Representation-wise, she fell out with the people of Talending. She was quite aggressive in the later parts of her time as a National Assembly member. She was very, very aggressive. Even with interviews, I watched them interview with 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗃. 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃 was asking her questions. She was asking 𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗃 questions. I won't answer this. This is what I'll answer. I won't answer this. That is aggressive. Aggression is not always about fighting, punching. No. It's the tone as well, the attitude. And sometimes Gambian women who are in leadership positions, sometimes they kind of mix aggression and assertiveness. You can be assertive without being aggressive. We saw Dr. Toure, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, we saw how she also transformed from being an assertive leader to an aggressive leader. We saw it. When Dr. Toure was advocating for against FGM, when she was going in the villages of Gambia to speak to communities about FGM, she was the calmest of all. She was assertive, but she was calm. She was respectful. She knew what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. But that all changed when she became a vice president. When she became a minister and then vice president, it all changed. And as women, we do not need to be aggressive to show that we are confident. We do not need to be aggressive to show that we can deliver like men. No. It takes away our essence. We don't. We can be respectful and still be confident and get the job done. So we saw Fatoumata also transforming slowly in the middle of all the attacks back and forth with UDP. She lost focus. She became this aggressive young lady, and she was also called the Iron Lady. Because Gambia has their own definition of Iron Lady. It's about kugena panka, kubugena munahe ak defante. That's what Iron Lady in Gambia means. Musungana. Musome along ko ite ninkewol ni nyongol baka ngaliye keloke aka wuri ka nyonin ka alfal ka jef. That's what you call musungana in Gambia. No. Musungana is about being assertive, being confident. It's about first respecting yourself, respecting others, and sticking for yourself. That is what it means. Do you know? We must not forget our essence as women. We don't need to be aggressive at all. So Fatoumata has not improved over time. She had her time to shine. She did not. She didn't make use of it. Why should we give her another opportunity? Is she the only Gambian woman who can represent women in Gambia, in parliament? Of course not. Like I said, even if you put my mom in parliament now, she would do a better job than Fatoumata did. I am 100% sure of that. Because despite the fact that these grassroots Gambian women are not educated, they understand issues. They have the plight of Gambian women at heart. They understand issues. And they can challenge issues in parliament, which Fatoumata did not do. How many times did Fatoumata speak about one single bill or a women-specific issue in parliament? How many times? How many times did she speak about standing-specific issue in parliament? How many times? And how did she say it? So the Talending people spoke. In large numbers, they said they don't want Fatoumata. They have enough of Fatoumata. That's what they said through the ballot box. And na President Masango, momeya lonka ate wataji bayo doron ne mani defante with the UDP, parce wodoron ne mala problem wati, ate fe fase Fatoumata place wodulato, esaje ko asa fokoko, Talending kol silan sina jibato bemeno la nyinko kono. Who does that? Leader Jumaleka Mawanyama. Look at Musa Abaji, the Talending representative. Oh my God, this young man is good. Normally, I would choose Fatoumata over Musa. Nanata Wodama, I would choose Fatoumata over Musa. But because Fatoumata cannot be compared to Musa in terms of competence, it's not just because she's a woman. If Fatoumata was slightly, if Musa was slightly more competent than Fatoumata, I still would have gone with Fatoumata. But because Fatoumata was so aggressive, Fatoumata was not competent, she combined a lot of different negative things. I couldn't have advocated for her. I wouldn't have done justice to the Talinding people. It would have been so wrong of me to do that. Only because she's a woman. She didn't represent us well as a woman in parliament. She had the opportunity. She had the lived experience of a typical Gambian woman. She was in prison for crying out loud. She was abused. She was traumatized. She understood everything. There was nothing stopping that lady from expressing and articulating herself in parliament. Nothing. Apart from the barrier of not being able to speak English. And that she could have mitigated by improving herself. There was nothing from stopping Fatoumata from going to college to just do ESOL, to just speak English. There was nothing stopping her from doing that. Even some of the women that are uneducated in the Gambia who, you know, moved to the UK, for example, or Germany, give them a couple of years, 1 year, 2 years, they're speaking English loud and clear. Some of them are reading, they're sending text messages. So why couldn't Fatoumata do that? Why couldn't she go and educate herself instead of going to campaigns? Because for her, she was coming at a very different level to some of the other National Assembly members. Okay? She didn't have that much of an education. So when you have a background like that, you need to work a little bit harder on yourself to get to that standard. So for me, I thought she would have packed politics on one side for a moment and work on herself. Then this year, when we had the election, no one would, she didn't even need to campaign because she would have already proved a point. She would have already been at a place where, you know, she got telling people would just have voted for her. But this lady was Mungejai Panka. Di defante nyim molo ntene nyim molo te diamula. How aggressive is that? Nyim molo iteni wote diamula foi tel fisata wo molti bang. Wo molo foi tel fisata woti bang. Mol meni alon ko wole te bambu in 2016. Ke bambu. Ke ku foi senia. Ke samba parliament. Bita ko iteni wo molo te diamula. Foi tel fisata wo molti. Ite buka karan, ite buka read keno, ite buka safari keno. Ite ko iteni wo molo te diamula. For me, hanatara ko ini wo mol man diam. Iman lafika, you know, yaf mira ko itele fisata wo mol. Hani iman karango keno, iman read no, iman write no, iman fen keno. But issue sol many BJ. She was like, iseng ntening ha, isenteni wo molla. Exactly, that's what she said. Isenteni wo molla. Now I think maybe the Iron Lady is there to represent the whole Gambia. Fatoumata is a few out of a lot hard to find. Honestly, I'm not dishing her. This is just a critical, what do I say? Constructive criticism, okay? I am not dishing Fatoumata. She is a role model, okay? But she spoiled that for herself. She spoiled it for herself. She had the opportunity. She is not representing the whole Gambia because she was in parliament, young man. Menkanyin commento, she was in parliament. How did she represent us? Ama molu represent. Ntenda mana moye ekti parliamento nyinto Fatoumata ifengo memfo jeto na menki barola agenda ka push forward man fenji jeto ay menki jeto. Andung ate I experience meng soto like the lived experience I bata men take Gambia ate nyanta kere no voice tile meya lonko abe Even to advocate for the women in prison, she could have done that because she lived it. Why isn't she talking about the lived experiences that she, you know, some of the hardship that she faced in prison? I'm not talking about the abuse because that's a big stuff, you know. She has to be ready to talk about that, and that's her personal thing. I'm not talking about that. What I am talking about is some of the struggles that Gambian women, prisoners, are facing in the prisons in Gambia. She's never mentioned that in Parliament. Correct me if I'm wrong. What was stopping her? And this is why I'm saying she hasn't made the best use of her time. In the past 5 years in Parliament, she hasn't. She turned to be an arrogant woman, of course. And will I tell her dimba fa? Because I take it at Moleti Mea Lonko. Ntolube, we loved this young lady. We loved her. Because at the true men are calling. Girl, check your inbox. I can't because I'm live now. I can't check my inbox. I'm using the same phone. If you want to join, please join. Request send jang ali dung. But I guess so you know when I start reading these comments, I just not thought process totally. So yeah, prison. We were talking about the prison stuff, okay? Fentije membe Fatmata Stopla from advocating. Moro Jata. Okay, let's try that. Because Malafinyeke call, I don't want it to be very long. So I'll try and accept you. Hopefully it should come up, adding somebody. Moro. Not working. So Moro, can you try again? I think someone was trying to join this call. But just to wrap up, okay? I'll give a few minutes to allow people to come in. Mbema fokang Fatmate wala nyintiko. Ka aggressive. Among necessary nyindo kwokon. Pruke la point proof. Hade madingo isi assertive no le isi learn no ifanale your confidence to as muso watera ko ite aggressive la. Okay? So by the side you 5 years do dealer. Barole 5 years or dealer. Even though telling them call ko malafila barole 5 years or dealer. I think Inyantamenkela Willem to go back, sit and do a self-reflection. Kanila moy molla outside, Fatmata. Kanila moy need to focus stay from pruke from develop. You would be such a powerful voice in that parliament. You would be a powerful woman in Gambia. Only if you take the politics out of things. Ning campaign what was it? Maybe NPP, they campaign NPP. Fine, that's your right. But after that, focus on yourself, woman. Focus on yourself. Ining telling ding call, yita telling ding, you don't telling ding call kan, ining telling ding call ye kacha. Yeah, understand. Telling ding la issue momenti. I ngela interviewed Ola Moile. You said, what did they ask her? They said to her, how are you going to represent Gambian women in parliament? She said she couldn't answer that. She has to go and consult Gambian women. But it's Sanji Lulu told no one deal put la parliament or for Tanji Lulu better ma understand no memo musol la bata that. Itama offer ham no. Itama musol la bata. Itama wo understand no. Sanji Lulu ye make a palette. Itama understand no. That is so embarrassing, I must say. Like, itama no la parliament then. Natro kusangi lulo bete mang musol la issue ite mo understand no. Iko ite banguru na ini musol ya kacha kotenke. Ba ite diamuno la molo koto ima men faha. But ite banin jail before. You had the 5 years to engage with the women of Talinding, to engage with the people of Talinding as a whole. But you were there fighting. Ibe merol koma la merol meni alonko yebulu nole.
ibe kumol fayla volcan. Ining young people ol bedunna nyola ni moy fengo fenfo iko foite sa fengo ninjabi. Like you cannot focus on those petty things and still expect you to develop yourself and develop your career. It's impossible. Ibe kukilin na mutala. Because ite be dunkan parliament in a different level le. Ite la karango manjamfa. Ke wolle siata parliament ni lafta kake moti me alon ko mobi bunya la ye respect. Ifolo ke from respect ye from bunya. Ye from respect ye from bunya. Then more honey ase dunya munya more be against her because maybe be NPP but I be done na walto. More need it personal because ye boundary like jeto. More nyenta boundary sotola. Fatmata balite konita mitinola. I was following your campaign trail. Ila kabi after a new parliamentary election on ila campaign on mbabe no makane. Because I wanted you to do well. Mbaji be kanefu femba falinale. But nothing changed. Every single campaign tata mena ibe nye modo le jabika. Musa baji jibe ni watata campaign wala. Issue akawale kacha issue problem wal momenti nati tata jeto abe mine katala abe mundu wale trailer ka push futalem din kol la nyato ta se no wol wa kono abe wale fukan all the time. Okay, no, I don't have a political affiliation with Fatmata. Somebody is asking that. No, but I also wish her well. Like amanki kunga Hitler or anything, no. But I am fam malola because of ntolle sita jang. Ntolle sita jang. Ka fu Fatmata mumo kendelet. Ntolle sita jang ka empower. Kabiring abinala 2016. Mol ngalon ne nunko I barrier sotole abe struggle lale. But in the jiko sotoko maybe over time that abe fang improve lale. That's what we thought. But it's Sanji Lul, honey more members primary 1. Sanji Lul. By the time Sanji Lul over Banabita year 5, I can improve le. But it ain't more to damn in primary 1. At for grade 5, I hakilo beki hani sign for primary 1 dindo. Ofana mamandia. Ninkom be settle because musolam dorong. Nga foko nga to parliament wanyama. That is an insult to women. Because iba foko ntelian noko, ntol we don't need to achieve what men achieve. Wolan told dasatale hani be. Because Gambia musol siatale many alonko you were competent sotele. Purukatasi parliament okono. And they would do justice to their roles. So why in Yantaska to love for Fatmata all the time? And then wakang anala aggressiono. Tilimbali atu kumo wato wati. Tani nyu wino menketateng. Mune Fatmata baleka finti. Kadiamo puruka talindin 𝗂𝗶𝗺𝗀𝗃𝗃 kilinti to bring them to their side. Yano muso, we have some sort of there is this feminine energy and power that we have. Me alonko nintol ma explore malo. Muso is sembo sotole Fatmata could have even she could have won this election. But I ala kamfale noma aningala arrogance fire loose. Cause ni wanting kamol nene ni lafte fenna mol bulika mol nenele. Like I was saying about Dr. Ture, bring Dr. Ture be fintila Gambia kata santo to kadiamu mole pure nyaka to tabulaje. Abe mol nene kanelo. Abe mol nene kane. Kumo bebe diaring, kumo bebe easy. Isaje kumol ye lamwe. Mol manke faloti. Monia bunya. There is a very high chance that kwa be bunya ni murundile kane. Dr. Ture bilata nung banta kata diamu Gambien wol ay bunyani horamo la tandi mol bilinga kata vice president oti Dr. Ture fanay aggressiveness start ka arrogant mol bulo min diata ite o fo moli pour mom Fatumata the same thing. Fatumata mobe yalo ne ko Fatumata mobe ni ko Fatumata jawara iko Fatumata mo dindin kuluri ngolti Fatumata la diamu mansia Fatumata deitale Mune falenta Fatumata la koto fo Fatumata keta nyimoti me alan ko nganale kuma tate danna nim fe ngofen fintita fasi se jabiro soto andu jabiro be kala jabiri diminde ngoti ka yitande ka tilinde alfalla akela darajo fale akela darajo fale especially ite mu dinde ngoti sonte ba ya marla menna ngamira nga nyim fo manika kan wat wol gina important saje ka sa faham no bake mba ya marla menna Fatumata yeji mo isela assertiveness nying isa fintindi nole without being aggressive isela confidence yitandi nole ila musu ya ka yitandi ko itam musu bambandi ngolti isa yitandi nole watata koy mambula mol alfalla ntul nga hope soto because ntul man siya parliament musu jelle be parliament 3 ya wala elect this time out of 53 3 ntol nga wala soto jeto yena fulol soto say Fatmata Jawara ning Maimouna Ceesay Darboe say nitol fanan ko itol tela focus kela musol ka itol bela focus kela president Barrow le kan sila ntol Gambia muso ntol bitamin parce que parliament lem the highest institution oti isa ko men ko Gambia muso be represent la namanke president yati ani vice president ya ni dem the highest one oti say nite opportunity soto kasira ngosoto woto pour ka advocate for Gambian women ite ko hanite to wokela ite bita president wala agenda wala ite CJ because Maimouna Ceesay Darboe ya fole ako president wala agenda ati bole normal. A lot of other parliamentarians have said that it will ko president wala agenda I bole normal wala it will see parliament say musol la agenda mutuma lembo push la nim president wala agenda yete sindije musol la agenda when are we going to push for that? Absolutely, Anita. Unfortunately, our VP has been the biggest disappointment. Absolutely, I cannot agree more. She became so aggressive, so arrogant. And she became invisible as well, because we don't even get to see her. We don't get to see her. So if we are pushing for more women in leadership positions, more women, you know, we want more women in politics, and the women are disappointing us. The women are telling us we're going to push for Barrow's agenda. How disappointing is that? How disappointing is that? You were not there now for President Barrow. You were there now representing a marginalized group, women in parliament. Yeah, they use the women and dump them. It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. Do you know the VP before she appointed, my dear, before she was appointed? Yes, I knew the VP before she was appointed. She was my role model, Musa said. I knew the VP very well before she was appointed. These are the women. Dr. Ture, I said, Auntie Ami Bojang, these were the women that paved the way for us to be able to be bold enough to talk about FGM on social media. They were activists and they were sincere during those days. I can say that. She wasn't aggressive. The vice president wasn't aggressive. Because when you want change, when you want to effect change, when you want to touch the hearts and minds of people, you cannot be aggressive. You cannot. And that is where these people got it wrong. That is where Fatumata Jawara got it wrong. So Gambians in general, when we talk about women in parliament, women in leadership positions, in politics in general, we know that Gambian women are not, Gambians in general are not ready for female leadership. We know that because we saw when Marisol came out what happened. We saw in this past parliamentarian election what happened, okay? And so the few women we have in parliament must be women who have the competence to dismantle that status quo. to stand against men in that parliament, to stand against the bad laws, to advocate for issues or bills that would advance women in Gambia. Those are the type of parliamentarians we need. Not parliamentarians, female representatives who are appointed by president to push the agenda of the president. That's not what we need. And that is why I have a problem with these two people. But they can make change. They can change things for themselves and for us. Only if they listen. They need to listen. Because in NPP, NPP may along progress bijele. Okay? NPP, mang fenji me along ko isa ko NPP ko nga fo nyina ko ay quality sotole a competently in NPP. I haven't seen anyone. Ite karandila because new one thing Fatmata in time or being spent with hanging around with Barrow. As it develop knowledge because by mobuka will see fajeka fa ko Fatmata takarambumoto, for example. Tan yinke puriye fung develop. Moto nge sen ning dulato hana bakila technical leti wala hana da bakila adult education leti, but it compete no la nata ko almantara the same level. So at all be you guys need to listen. You all need to listen. Okay, you need to drop this aggressiveness and arrogance. That's what you need to do. You need to go back to women in the grassroots and reconnect with them again. Understand their issues. Because Fatimata is telling me she doesn't understand the issues of Gambian women. She needs to go back and speak to them. After 5 years in parliament, you don't understand the issues of Gambian women? Are you for real? So you have another 5 years. Go back to your people. Have a chat with them. Go back and have a chat with them. And that applies to Maimuna as well. Because Maimuna, again, Maimuna understand Gambia. Maimuna be sitting to Babudu for how long? Maimuna ma understand memu kafa ku karambunjo kwale ya tamusoe. Maimuna depansi bondo man kwale ya bulu Gambia. She's not one of those women may along katilim breadwinner in her household. So atiba mina represent Nola. Stop politicizing your topic. Okay, I hear you. Yeah, fine. People would say what they want to say. Okay, I need to focus. This is what I'm saying. When you are in politics, you'll be dragged left, right, and center. You need to focus. You need to focus. Okay? And I want to focus on the topic. You can think whatever you want to think, but I want to focus. I cannot be distracted. And that's the attitude I want Fatimata to get. When you're in politics, you'll be dragged left, right, and center. But focus. You have a mission. So in focus, Lale, you can think what you want to think. Also coming from the grassroots, it is really sad. It is sad. But Maimuna Sise Dabo is, we cannot call her a grassroots woman now. She is not. She was based in the US. She went to the Gambia. She had all the privileges. She hasn't struggled to buy petrol. She hasn't struggled to give fish money in her house. She hasn't. She has a car of her own. Okay? So I think she is now seeing herself as a different class, a different level. She's in a different level. She doesn't understand the plights anymore, or she's choosing to ignore the plights. So like I said, I would prefer a typical Gambian woman, in fact, who is illiterate, to sit in parliament and say to these parliamentarians, look, you got this wrong. This is the right way to do it. This is what I'm struggling with. This is what market women are struggling with. This is what garden women are struggling with. I would prefer that because they would be authentic. But what can Maimuna Sise Dabo bring on the table? What? If they're saying to our face that we're there for the president, what can they bring? So they need to go back to the drawing board, go back to the grassroots women, go and have a consultation meeting. Ini kacha, okay? Yeah, understand. By the 5 years of Fan Mutajawara Malon no memo Gambian musol no problem oti. Murung ini kacha. Yeah, faham memo no problem oti. Sis, not to be funny or demeaning, but there is grassroots in Europe. I know there is grassroots, but when you move, what I'm trying to say in there is when you move to Gambia, you have a free car. I'm talking about my Munesise now. You have a car, you're not struggling with anything, air-conditioned home, electricity book a file, I mean, what are your struggles? What can you tell me? I'm talking from that perspective. I know there are grassroots women here in Europe. Everywhere there are grassroots women all over and grassroots people all over the world. I understand that. But from this perspective, my moral perspective, what I'm trying to get at is, at this present moment, she doesn't have the lived experience. She doesn't. That's what I'm trying to say. It's about the lived experience. If you're telling me that I'm putting a woman to represent marginalized groups of women, okay? I want to be able to get a woman there who actually feels that marginalization, who knows, like Fatoumata Jawara, she's got that lived experience. She understands the issue. It's not that she doesn't understand. She chooses not to talk about them, but she does understand them because she lived it. But Maimuna doesn't have a lived experience. She doesn't. And so for me, she cannot speak for me as a woman in parliament. I have an issue with that. Or maybe I'm not in Gambia. I shouldn't say me, but maybe she cannot speak on behalf of my mother who is in Gambia right now. Unless and until she starts to reconnect again with the grassroots women. Reconnect. Consult them. Chat to them. And so they would be able to do a better job in parliament. Honestly. I am a firm believer of that. For them to be able to be representing women effectively, they need to be able to engage with us. They need to be able to understand what women are going through in that country. Yes, Fatoumata Jawara understands the assignment, but looks the other way. Yes, that's what I'm saying. She understands the issues. Yeah, she understands everything. She's been there. Fatoumata has been there. But she chose to turn a blind eye. Because for them, it's all about Barrow. We saw it when we did during the last parliament, what was it? The last constitutional draft. They just dish it in the dustbin because of what Barrow's interest. And it's not just the two of these people. To be fair, a lot of the MPs don't really understand why they are elected. They don't. One of the MPs even said that he's going to move to NPP because he has to support the national agenda, and the national agenda is the president's agenda. Yeah. But that has to change. Barrow gave them the job, but they're not there technically. And that's why I said technically they're there representing women. But in reality, they're there representing Barrow. And that is the sad, and that is why we are all frowning at their nomination. Imagine if we had Nena Freda Gomez in parliament right now as a nominated representative. Imagine that. Imagine if we had Yakumba again. We wouldn't be frowning because we would know that they have the interest of women at heart. We know that. And they understand issues, and they would be there, not just understanding, but they're there to represent us fully. But, you know, Barola topic, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, for my own mental health, sometimes I just ignore Baro, because honestly, it's draining. It's draining. Even this nomination itself is really sad. It's draining. He just did it to prove a point. He just did it to teach the UDP a lesson. Okay? And unfortunately, that's what we have to deal with for the next 5 years. And that is why I wanted to address these two women who were nominated on paper to represent Gambian women. So do us justice this time. Fatoumata, this is your second chance. This is your second chance. Do justice. This is your second chance. Go back to the Talending people and reconnect with them. Taila Merolia, Inie Kacha. Work together. Earn that respect back. Because honestly, until at some point, you deserve that respect, to be honest. Because you're resilient, you are strong. You don't need to be aggressive. You are strong. It'll lived experience already shows that you are a strong woman. There is no doubt about that. But yela popularity ya jindile because of ila manyali kamenke. So go back, reflect on yourself. We the people of Talending don't want her. Aji, dengan ko buga by force ngeen ko buga. Dafa ñew mu jégalu. Dafa ñew mu jégalu. Mu liggéey ak yéen. That's the right thing to do, I think. She needs to do that. Because what Barrow is pushing her to, Barrow ba push coming to right now, is to continue that fight, the push and pull. We are not going to progress as a nation if we keep pushing and pulling. Gambia is not always about UDP and MPP. Those two parties are not the only parties in Gambia. Our problems are bigger than UDP and MPP, if you ask me. And so we must swiftly, very quickly shift the conversation. Let's shift it. It's not always about UDP, MPP. We are sick and tired of it. Honestly, we're just sick and tired of it. You two are there to represent women. Represent us well. Represent us well. If there are any bills, like two-month bill on women, push, support her in there. Don't say because Tuma is an independent, she's not NPP, I'm not going to push for this. And you all can come up with your own bills. Okay? Support each other. And among CIJ, it's only 5 women now in parliament. Only 5. So you need to be seen as working together and advancing. She will deliver as expected. Let us give her more time. Yes, we've given her 5 years, mate. We've given her 5 years. She didn't do anything in that 5 years. She's been fighting in that 5 years with the UDP constantly. Okay? So she's got a second chance anyway. We can't change it. It's now happening. And that is why I want her to listen. If she listens, I think she will do well. We're not asking for too much. We're asking her to focus on her career, focus on the group that she's representing, that's women, focus on Gambia. And then when it's time to campaign, she can go ahead in the next 5 years and do that campaign. But for this, for the beginning, please focus. Have respect. As I said, you can still be assertive without being arrogant. We must not forget that. We must not forget that. We don't have to act like men to be confident. No, we must not. Until we are already, Fatmata, as I say, you are already an assertive person. You are already a strong woman. So don't be arrogant. Don't respond to every single criticism. You are in politics. You would be criticized most of the times. And over time, over time, they would let you be. The way you respond is by showing people that, look at me, I'm improving. Look at me, I wasn't able to read, now I'm able to read. Look at me, I am sitting in committees and I'm having conversations. You would earn the respect of people. You won't earn respect by going back and forth with people. It's very immature. And for Maymunah Seadabo, we would be watching. We would be watching very keenly, you know, for the next 5 years to see what you would bring on the table. Okay? Because we know that you are Barola right hand Lamwiti. You know, Iron Lady, MPP la Iron Lady as they call you. But in Musole CJ, they come Musole Kawara representative. So please remember that. Gambian people are watching. You saw Fatmata Jawara? They can put you all back in there again. That's if Barrow's got another 5 years, which I doubt. I don't think Barrow would be there after these 5 years. I don't think so. Okay? So, you know, matter the last 5 years, I think. I want to believe that. So make use of it. So that even after Parliament, people like Fatimata can go ahead and have a better career. Because of the 10 years experience in Parliament. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to say. Apologies if I said anything wrong. We're in Ramadan. I don't want to offend anyone. I just wanted to give a friendly reminder, you know. You will be surprised that Gambians will vote for him again. No, Aji, Gambia cannot vote for him again. Barrow mom, doing a 666, Barrow cannot be there again. That means the whole Gambia would have mental health issue. Honestly, like every day with Barrow for another 5 years after this one, no. Yeah, thank you everybody. I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, I think I've offloaded quite a lot actually. So yeah, unless if someone wants to join, I did join online. Madam, I've been talking for a while now. Join now. Hopefully these people would listen. Maymunah Seadabo. Yeah, hopefully, because Maymunah can speak. Hopefully, I hope that she can read as well. And I hope that she can go back and reconnect with the women that she's representing, you know. And I genuinely hope that next Parliament would be more inclusive, you know, would be more inclusive, put more young people in there, add the Christian community, you know, get some competent women nominated, and then we'll be happy. We would be happy. All right, guys, I think that's it. Hey, people are commenting on my dress. I think now I need to go. All right. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Please share if you think I've said some useful stuff in here. And apologies again, we're in Ramadan. I don't want to upset anyone. Fatmata, Ntebela Saidle, I'm not against you at all. I do want you to do well in Parliament, and that is why I want you to listen. I do want you to listen. Please listen. And work with Musa Baji, work with the MPs. Don't hold any grudges at all. Cannot grudge hold. Niman grudge hold, you work with them, work with these women. Kebal men betalending, work with them. many be parliament, Tumanjai wol, Fonyi Berefet or the Fonyi MP, the lady MP, Amikoli, Fatu Cham of Sani Mentoring, work with them. Al political land one side and Atul Bay work. But all agenda, Al will land follow funding political seat the next 5 years. You pick that up. But for now, please focus on the women that you're representing. Thank you, everybody.